The history of South Korea's K1 and K2 series rifles is a fascinating tale of determination, innovation, and strategic necessity. Spanning several decades, the development of these indigenous firearms reflect the dynamic shifts in South Korea's economical, political, and military landscape. From the early attempts of the 1960s to create an indigenous rifle to the mass production of the K1 and K2 rifles in the 1980s, this article delves into the intricate details of the rifle's evolution, addressing key milestones, challenges, and the technological advancements that shaped their design. The story begins in the 1960s, when South Korea embarked on its journey to develop a domestically produced rifle. Initial attempts ranged from selective fire conversions of the M1 Garand to loose copies of the Heckler & Koch G3, with calibers fluctuating between .30-06 and 7.62 by 51mm NATO. However, these endeavors did not progress beyond prototype stages due to economic constraints, technological limitations, and the absence of a robust industrial base. Until the mid-1970s, South Korea relied heavily on military support from the United States, particularly with M1 Garands and M1 and M2 carbines. The country faced challenges in developing and producing its own rifles, but a turning point eventually arrived in the 1970s. The 1970s brought about rapid economic growth in South Korea, leading to an expansion of industrial capabilities. In 1974, South Korea secured a license from Colt to build M16A1 rifles. This marked a crucial moment, providing the Korean military with modern assault rifles and significantly boosting the nation's small arms research and development capabilities. The Colt license was a pivotal step, but it did not entirely fulfill South Korea's ambitions. The original license agreement covered a limited quantity, and with geopolitical changes including the Nixon Doctrine, the Carter administration's human rights policy, and, having axe-crazy neighbors, South Korea felt compelled to enhance its self-reliance in defense matters. In response to the limitations of the M16A1 license, the South Korean government established the Agency for Defense Development, or ADD for short. Insert neurodiversity joke here. As well as a government arsenal in Busan. This laid the groundwork for the indigenous rifle program, which could now begin in earnest, having officially begun in 1972. One crucial phase in the development process was an early set of prototypes designated as the XB series. Numbered from XB1 to XB5, these prototypes initially adopted the 7.62 by 51mm NATO caliber. Notably, until around 1975 to 1976, all ADD prototypes were designed in this caliber due to a scarcity of 5.56mm ammunition in Korea. A significant shift occurred between 1976 and 1977, when the XB6 prototype transitioned to 5.56mm rounds. This transition was driven by the need to enhance reliability, prompted by experiences of Korean soldiers during the Vietnam conflict while using M16 rifles. The XB6 featured a long-stroke gas piston, reminiscent of the AK series, and a relocated recoil spring to the upper receiver, akin to the SIG SG540 or Stoner 63. This particular move was due to the Korean Army beginning to prioritize folding stocks over fixed ones. This period also witnessed the very rapid development of a submachine gun based on the XB prototypes, known as the XBS, on account of unexpected requirements from the Korean Army Special Command. The XBS project resulted in the creation of the Daewoo K1 SMG, which entered service around 1980 to 1981. Initially adopted by Spec Ops units, it featured a direct impingement gas tube and a shortened design based on the XB6 or 7. The K1 ended up becoming a very versatile weapon, serving tankers, commanders, and radio operators, addressing the demand for a short SMG-like firearm. However, the K1 faced early challenges, particularly with its flash suppressor design, which led to issues such as excessive recoil, noise, and flash. These shortcomings were addressed through the development and adoption of a new flash suppressor, resulting in the K1A variant of the gun around 1984 to 85. With the twilight years of the 1970s and the beginning of the 1980s, the final XB prototype, the XB7, emerged. This prototype, developed around 1982 to 83, laid the foundation for the K2 rifle we recognize today. Despite some variations within the XB7 prototypes, the shape of the K2 was almost complete. The XB7A variant, for instance, featured a fixed stock, later replaced by a side-folding stock similar to the FNFAL's Para version, and eventually evolving into the side-folding polymer stock seen in the final K2 design. The rifle was officially given the K2 designation in 1982 to 83, and the production process commenced around 1984, with mass production beginning 2 years later in 1986. That year was also when the K2 rifle was officially fielded to frontline units, and it made its public debut during the 1987 Armed Forces Day Parade. After its official fielding, the K2 underwent various modifications and improvements in its early years, addressing feedback from users and incorporating advancements in small arms technology. One notable enhancement was the redesign of the gas regulator to improve reliability and performance. The K2 featured a fire mode selector with positions for safety, semi-auto, 3-round burst, and full auto. Its external appearance shared similarities with the M16 but differed significantly in internal design and construction. Unlike the M16's forged receivers, the K2 featured a stamped and welded sheet steel construction, a more cost-effective approach without sacrificing durability or performance. The success of the K2 paved the way for the development of several variants to meet specific military requirements. One example was the K2A, featuring a shortened barrel and adjustable gas regulator. This model demonstrated versatility and adaptability for different roles within the armed forces. Meanwhile, the K2C carbine variant, with its compact size, found favor among special operations units and personnel operating in confined spaces. Further improvements were introduced with the K2C1 variant, which included extended handguard rails, a flat-top upper receiver with a detachable rear backup sight, and a new collapsible stock. These enhancements aimed to modernize the K2 and align it with contemporary small arms standards. The K1 and K2 also found their way into the civilian markets as the DR200 and AR100 respectively. These civilian variants maintained the fundamental design features of their military counterparts while complying with civilian firearm regulations. In 2009, the K11 dual-caliber airburst weapon made its debut at the DSEI Military Expo, information about its development having been available since around 2006. And yes, that is actually what it looks like. This innovative weapon was developed by the ADD, and whilst it showcased similarities to the ill-fated American XM29 OICW, the K11 actually appeared to have better prospects for actual service, at least at the time. The Republic of Korea was, and still is, known for its advanced microelectronics industry. It had a well-established defense sector and a strong drive for continuous military equipment upgrades. The K11 was specifically designed to support infantry squads, enhancing their ability to engage enemy personnel in defilade and target soft-skinned vehicles and equipment. It achieved this through the use of 20mm airburst grenades with pre-programmed fuses and 5.56mm ammunition for short to medium-range direct fire. The K11 consisted of 3 seamlessly integrated major components forming a single weapon system. The first of those was a manually operated bolt-action 20mm multi-shot grenade launcher with a bullpup layout, fed from detachable box magazines. This launcher served as the core of the system. The second was a 5.56mm automatic rifle component with firing controls, operating in a gas-operated rotary bolt selective fire manner, similarly to conventional rifles like the M16 or the K2. The trigger unit was shared between the grenade launcher and rifle components, offering single-shot or 3-round burst firing modes. Lastly, the electronic fire control unit completed the trio, equipped with a laser rangefinder, environmental sensors, ballistic computer, and day-night sighting channels. The K11 was officially adopted by the Republic of Korea Armed Forces in 2008, and by 2010, each squad was reportedly issued 2 K11s, making the ROK Armed Forces the first army in the world to standardize an airburst rifle. Despite the promising start, however, the weapon encountered challenges throughout its development, culminating in the project's ultimate cancellation in 2019. The history of the K1 and K2 rifles is a testament to South Korea's commitment to self-reliance in defense matters. From the early struggles to develop an indigenous rifle to the mass production and continuous improvement of the K1 and K2 series, the journey reflects the nation's resilience and determination. The K1 and K2 rifles have not only equipped the Republic of Korea Armed Forces with modern and reliable firearms, but have also contributed to the nation's standing as a capable producer of small arms. The ongoing developments in recent years underscore the commitment to innovation, adaptability, and the pursuit of excellence in small arms design. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Deuterian the Sentient Mattress. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to both Munansho and myself. Thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta!